In the heart of the dense forest, where shadows dance among the ancient trees and the moon's eerie glow filters through the thick canopy, lies a tale of terror whispered by the wind itself. Deep within these woods, there's a legend of a creature that prowls the darkness, known only as the Wood's Bane. It is said to be neither man nor beast but a twisted amalgamation of both, with eyes that gleam like malevolent stars and claws as sharp as knives. Its presence is felt rather than seen, a chill in the air, a rustle of leaves, a sense of foreboding that settles like a weight upon the unwary traveler. Many who have dared to venture into these woods have never returned, their fate forever entwined with the sinister secrets that lurk within. Those who have survived speak in hushed tones of whispered voices echoing through the trees, of strange markings etched upon the bark, and of eyes that watch from the darkness, unblinking and hungry. One such tale tells of a group of friends who set out on a camping trip, seeking adventure and excitement beneath the stars. But as night fell and the fire dwindled to embers, they became aware of a presence lurking just beyond the edge of the campsite, its breathing heavy and labored, its footsteps like the rhythm of a funeral dirge. Terrified, they huddled together, hoping against hope that the morning would bring salvation. But when dawn broke, they found themselves alone in the wilderness, the only evidence of their nocturnal visitor the deep gouges in the earth and the whispered warnings that seemed to linger on the wind. To this day, the woods remain a place of mystery and dread, a realm where nightmares come to life and the line between reality and madness grows ever thinner. And though many may venture into the depths seeking answers, few will ever truly escape the grasp of the Wood's Bane and the horrors that lie in wait among the trees. As the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness descended upon the forest, the group of friends, now filled with a growing sense of dread, realized they were hopelessly lost. Every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig, sent shivers down their spines, as if the very woods themselves were alive and watching their every move. With each passing moment, the feeling of being hunted grew stronger. Shadows seemed to twist and coil around them, and strange sounds echoed through the trees, a low growl here, a haunting howl there. Desperation set in as they stumbled through the underbrush, their hearts pounding in their chests like the drums of a funeral march. But just as they were on the verge of despair, they stumbled upon an old, dilapidated cabin nestled deep within the woods, its windows shattered and its door hanging askew. Though hesitant, they had no other choice but to seek refuge within its decaying walls. As they cautiously stepped inside, the air grew thick with the stench of decay, and a sense of unease settled over them like a suffocating blanket. But their relief was short-lived, for as they explored the interior of the cabin, they discovered something that sent chills down their spines, a series of crude drawings etched into the walls, depicting scenes of unspeakable horror and suffering. Suddenly, the air grew colder, and a sense of dread washed over them like a tidal wave. They knew then that they were not alone in the cabin, that something sinister lurked in the shadows, watching their every move with hungry eyes. With trembling hands, they reached for their flashlights, their beams cutting through the darkness like knives. And in that moment, they caught a glimpse of it, a pair of glowing eyes peering out from the shadows, filled with malice and hunger. In a panic, they bolted for the door, their footsteps echoing through the cabin like the tolling of a funeral bell. But as they flung open the door and stumbled out into the night, they realized with a sinking feeling that they were not free, that the woods themselves were alive with the whispers of the damned, and that they were merely pawns in a game far older and darker than they could ever have imagined. As they fled deeper into the forest, their breaths ragged and hearts pounding, they soon realized that their pursuer was not far behind. Twisted branches reached out like skeletal fingers, snagging at their clothes as if trying to drag them back into the abyss. With every step, the darkness seemed to grow thicker, swallowing the feeble light of their flashlights. Panic clawed at their minds, threatening to consume them whole. They stumbled and fell, but the fear of what lurked in the shadows drove them to their feet once more. But just as they reached the edge of the woods, a bone-chilling howl echoed through the trees, freezing them in their tracks. And then, emerging from the darkness, came the Wood's Bane itself, a monstrous creature with eyes as cold as death and claws as sharp as razors. Paralyzed with terror, they could only watch helplessly as the creature closed in, its hot breath sending shivers down their spines. In that moment, they knew that they were doomed, that there was no escape from the nightmare that had consumed them. And as the woodsbane descended upon them, its jaws snapping shut with a sickening crunch, their screams echoed through the forest, lost to the darkness forevermore. From that day forth, the legend of the woodsbane grew, a cautionary tale whispered by those who dared to venture into the haunted woods, a reminder that some horrors are better left undisturbed, and that the darkness holds secrets best left forgotten.